Hello and welcome to the Canyons Are Calling podcast. I'm Charles Jocelyn, your host for the show. So I have just completed my first week of physical therapy on my neck, and so far it seems to be working. So fingers crossed, I'm going to be avoiding surgery, and I am definitely in a better mind space than I was in January. I just want to thank the couple of people that reached out to me after the Himalayan episode and let me know kind of their situation with recovery and, let me know it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be pissed that I can't do the canyons right now. It's going to pass. It's going to give me the motivation to focus on the physical therapy and I'll get back out there. I mean, it could be worse. Like, at least it's 2023. Unlike the story I heard about in 2020 when a guy blew his ACL and wasn't even able to get surgery because it wasn't COVID related. So at least there's that. Like, there's some positives in my life and I can focus on some good things. So I really appreciate the couple of emails that I got about staying positive and just I'm not alone. There's people that get hurt all the time and there's people that just wear out. So yeah. It's just we're human, we're fragile. It's fucking life. Deal with it, Charles. Anyway, that being said, if you appreciate this show, there are a couple of ways that you can show your support. You can rate or review me wherever you listen. I know Spotify and Apple now let you rate them. Apple lets you do a review. I think Amazon lets you do a review, and Google. And then that way people can find out about me. It's a small community and not a lot of people know that there's even a Canyoneering podcast that exists. So the more that people review me and give me a good rating, if you don't think I'm worth 5 stars, let me know why. So maybe I can improve it. That would be awesome. Just reach out. Also, a couple of other ways are I have a website, The Canyons Are Calling, and there you can purchase beer glasses, stickers, dog tag toys, things like that. You can't really listen to episodes there because I don't update it, but you can purchase things that help support the show. You can also support the show through Patreon. On Patreon, depending on the tier level, I'll give you some stickers, beer glasses, or whatever. And then you also get to join us for our monthly Canyon chat. And there we just talk about different topics. I have guests on from time to time. And it's just a way to get to know the people that support the show. So far, I have held off on getting sponsors because I personally hate listening to ads. So I feel like if I can get enough listeners to support me in the long run, that would be better for me and you. So you don't have to listen to, aside from me rambling, you don't have to listen to more ads. So with that being said, I'm going to move on with the show. Today we have on Adolfo Isassi. Adolfo was on in an earlier interview. I think it was number 28. I looked it up earlier and I forgot. It was 29 or 28 with Gear Perspective. It was kind of a panel interview. There were 4 people on that one. And some people reached out and wanted me to get Adolfo on by himself because Adolfo has done some awesome things for the canyoneering community. He runs a Facebook page called Instructional Canyoneering Resource. Sorry about that. And I'll have a link to that in the show notes. But there he talks about all sorts of different things canyoneering related. They discuss accidents, they discuss rigging, they discuss different types of canyons, they discuss different types of gear. It's really, really cool. So I'll have a link for that in the show notes, and you can join that group if you want. And then he's also a huge part of the International Canyon Guide Canyoneering group. And that's where people get training and instructions to become certified to be canyoneering guides. And that goes across the whole it's international. Yeah, the whole world. So anyone can be a part of that group and they can get some training on that. And so Anyway, I hope you enjoy my interview with Adolfo. We also do talk about some of the new things that Gear Perspective has coming up, so stick through the whole interview because we talk about a lot of different things in this one. Enjoy. So today I'm here with Adolfo Isassi, and we're just here to talk canyons. How you doing, Adolfo?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty great. Enjoying the bitter cold January weather here. Have you guys been getting snow in Hurricane or just rain?
Here in Hurricane, since it's kind of a low valley, we get very little snow, some rain, but as soon as we go out in any direction, we almost immediately see snow. So if I climb here towards Cedar City, by the time I'm in Leeds, there is already snow. If I go towards Zion, by the time you get to Springdale, there's already snow. Um, And so yeah, but here very little, mostly rain, but everywhere around, yeah, we can get into snow pretty quick.
We've been getting snow for days. It's weird because it kind of melts as it comes. So the accumulation hasn't been a ton, but it's been coming down for days.
Yeah,
It's great.
I'm pretty glad. Look, whenever I see around the snow just accumulating and it's slowly melting, yeah, that's a good thing. That's what we need to replenish the springs and the long drought. Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, we definitely need the water for sure. So, Adolfo, tell us a little bit about how you got into the outdoors.
Outdoors, my family, my dad, and I have several uncles that they were already into the outdoors. And my dad, uh, I think he was just anxiously waiting where my legs were strong and long enough to start hiking. And yeah, he took me to hikes, and yeah, I learned about the outdoors, camping, hiking, backpacking, uh, since I was really young. And yeah, I loved it. I always loved it. That transition later into other outdoor activities, very athletic stuff like mountain biking and road racing. When I was already an adult, canyoneering. Canyoneering came maybe around 10 years ago for me. And what got me into canyons was just pursuing photography. I was just already had a photography was a big part of my life at that point, and I was pursuing landscape photography. And I got in deeper and deeper into. At some point, I bumped into slot canyons, and I realized that I needed some technical skills to get deeper into them.
So, what did your training look like?
Even to this day, just carrying a camera with me is a big thing. Going into canyons, yeah, and yeah, it's I love the beauty in there. It's one of the main drives for me to get into a canyon and coming back is the beauty aspect of it inside them. Yeah.
So, you got into the slot canyons and you got to a point where you were like, I need to get some more training so I can get down into see what's into this. What did that look like?
Yeah, I think initially just because I just put in my head like ropes. I think the first thing that popped in my mind was rock climbing, and I already knew some rock climbing when I was living in San Diego. So in San Diego, there's a lot of rock climbing around. So I was already doing some of that bouldering and rock climbing. So I took
Okay,
my rock climbing stuff into canyons, but
gotcha.
it only took a couple of canyons to kind of figure, I think I'm doing it wrong. And I started looking around for canyoneering classes, and that's how I came across Rich Carlson, and I took classes from him. Um, and yeah, that got me started it, and yeah, into getting with ropes and canyons.
Started the bug, the addiction.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, once I got the kind of the key. yeah, the leads started growing. What canyons I wanted to do, and yeah, it never stopped. The more you go into some area to do a canyon, and you come back with three more that you saw on the way. So yeah,
Right. Definitely understand how that goes. The list just
mhm.
keeps growing and growing. So, after your first initial class and then you got into it, you eventually became a certified guide, correct?
It took a while. So I took a series of classes, the basic ones, the rescue courses in canyons, some leadership training. There was another thing called Rappel Master that I was in there, and at some point, first I got my assessments from the ACA uh, as a recreational leader, and then with CGI, the uh, a professional guide, and I was to got me guiding with a company here in St. George area, and also with excursions of Escalante um, with Rick Green. Uh, Rick Green was a big part of my training, especially as a pro guide. Really excellent in all the aspects of how to handling commercial groups. So that was a big thing for me. And yeah, that was another phase of my canyoneering uh, cycle, getting into from recreational to pro guide, right?
Yeah. What drew you into the pro guide part of it?
Oh, kind of what aspect, the training aspect of it?
Yeah, like why did you want to be a pro guide?
Uh, I think initially, years before, maybe, I don't know, 5 years, the opportunity came around, and I say, like, no, no. Because uh, I think I have lived this through other aspects, other passions that I have pursued, that when you involve at this level the pro guide or a commercial aspect it kind of maybe has the risk of getting spoiled. That initial fascination or that initial drive that you have for that activity. Um, but at some point, I could tell I was involved in a couple of projects with Excursions of Escalante, where we were uh, guiding um video crews and TV crews to do commercials or documentaries,
Okay.
and I could totally see like a totally different level of aspect about canyoneering or guiding. How the stakes are a little bit higher, is more challenging. You are just facilitating someone into achieving a goal. In this case, they were documenting canyons through video, and that was kind of attractive. Kind of see the level of intensity was a little bit higher. So that got me like, there is some challenge here. So yeah, I like that aspect of it, and then I decided to go, okay, yeah, let's do it right.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts about being a guide was watching how the people would change throughout the day. You know, like the first rappel, they're
Yeah.
terrified, they're super scared, they're working on that fear. And by the end of it, they feel like they've conquered the world and they're so proud. And no matter if they're, 5 years old or 80 years old, every time it's just such a joy to watch. That was my favorite part.
Right. Yeah. They start all. Yeah, I have gone through all types. Either the ones that start with a lot of apprehension, and then they get like more into it, and it almost never fails. Once you reach certain part of the canyon, yeah, they just your drop and say, "Oh my God, this is just beautiful." They forget all the fears. There is this other kind of personality that they kind of start really outgoing and cocky,
Right.
and then they get to the first rappel and they start like getting the knees buckle. Yeah, and that's another big part of being a guide, how to see the personalities,
Mm-hmm.
kind of start just kind of making your plan. How are you gonna place them in the group?
Yep.
You go first, you go last, right? And whoever is gonna get scared, you're already kind of making a plan for that person. So yeah, it's definitely a different level than just being out there recreational with your friends, right? For sure.
For sure. Do you still guide?
After last year, I was still guiding. Then things go down a little bit. This year, let's see how things shape up. But yeah, I'm this year. I'm probably gonna guide, but I'm teach more. I'm gonna start teaching for canyons and cracks with Rich Carlson,
Awesome.
and I'm gonna dedicate some time to that to this year. Yeah.
And I know you do a lot of teaching in St. George and Hurricane area too, and that takes a lot of your time. So let's talk about that.
That is probably the those we do a monthly meetup, and this is the ACA leader program. So to whoever is interested or is curious about getting into that program, we do a meetup once a month, and people show up and they ask questions about the program, or they want to practice a particular skill. And yeah, we spend part of an afternoon there just practicing and answering questions. Mhm.
Where do you do the meetup? Is it a certain time and day every month, or does it change?
Uh, yeah, it's a meetup, and you can see it through if you go to Meetup and you search American Canyoneering Association. There is a meetups in Salt Lake City, and there is a meetup mark Southern Utah, St. George area. And every year we just set up the schedule, um, especially when winter ends. And it's once a month, and usually we do it on above Leeds, that dirt road that goes to from Leeds to Yankee Doodle and
Oh, right. Poltergeist and those
Jumper
canyons.
area.
Okay.
Yeah, there are some areas there that where you can set up rappels and practice and set scenarios, and do laps. So it's really good. We usually do them there.
Okay. I'll try to have a link for the meetup in the show notes. If not, people can just get a hold of you and find out how to join that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Cool. Another thing that I was asked to talk to you about is the Facebook groups that you help mediate.
Okay. Sure.
What are those groups? Let's talk about those a little bit.
I'm involved nowadays in the Canyon Guides International group, which is a group for all people interested in seeking the professional guide certification through that organization. So I'm there answering questions, sometimes sharing articles that we post in the website, some technical articles about rigging and guiding, and we post it on the website, and we share the links on that group. And there is this other group, Instructional Canyoneering Resource, where it's it's about learning safety. I think the motto that we try to go by is safety to learning and training. And we try to share informations about rigging, about safety in canyons, And we try to organize the information, tagging it by themes like this is rigging, this is risk mitigation techniques, this is just an accident report or accident discussion, so people can browse or navigate the content based on those themes. We have been trying to maybe also preface some of the articles like, well, this is a beginner, this is intermediate, this is advanced. So yeah, we try to just have information there. And yeah, that I'm also an admin on that group. And to help out, I know people personally, I have Canyoneer with them. And I know their level is pretty good. And we also have this, we designate some people, group experts in the group, and they help out to uh, uh, moderate and pitch in into the discussion with tips and opinions. And yeah.
Yeah. I've learned a lot from that group and just the accident discussions and rigging discussions and all that type of stuff. It's a really good group.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's a pretty quiet group. And yeah, every several times when I'm out there in a canyon, people approach it that, oh yeah, I love that group. But sometimes it feels like it's like a little bit quiet because just people, I guess, read and either like it or they do brief comments, but there is no uh, not much drama. There are some actually sometimes people who have a pretty good level. They come and point out like, hey, what about these really valid points?
Yeah.
And that just basically brings like, okay, this aspect, especially either different regions here in this country, in the United States, there the practices kind of vary a little. Practices and rigging differ a little bit, and someone comes out and points out, well, in this other area, we may do it this other way.
That's true. I
Um,
feel like Utah is way different rigging than like Colorado or the Pacific Northwest would be.
yeah, and even within Utah, you can clearly see like who really is just doing all the time canyons in the Northwash, and who must do most of the canyons in the Zion area. Yeah,
Right.
the rigging, the peoples over there, they have like pads, elbows, knee pads, and and here we don't need that. And here
Right.
there are anchors are more prevalent, artificial anchors, bolting. So yeah, different practices, different stuff. And even within Utah, I feel like it differs some. And even when you go to Arizona, it deviates even a little bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
So how do you feel about webbing color? Like I went to Moab and there was this beautiful rainbow of webbing and you could like clearly see where all of your repels were. But I know here in the Zion area, if you don't use like black or like stone colored, you're like oust. So I'm
Mhm.
just wondering between us and the few listeners I have.
And then the thousands of listeners.
It's not quite that many yet.
I I like black. I personally carry black webbing
Yeah.
because I think from all the choices, when you are looking into a particular set of landscape, there is always going to be shadows, and black webbing, a strip of black webbing here and there, it really blends in with as a shadow. Rust colors or cream colors, that's kind of okay. When I come across color webbing, I think as year pass by, I kind of go like, yeah, okay, whatever. I think if the station is really visible from someone who is not a canyoneer, especially at the entrance of a canyon or an exit, as I can see the objection, right? Is you are doing an activity that someone is out there trying to enjoy wilderness, or and
Right.
that's kind of an eyesore, like who did that?
Right.
Especially as a photographer, when if I'm taking a photograph and all of a sudden I'm there on my software and gonna, what is that red thing in
Right.
the wall? Right. But if it's inside the canyon, if you're already deep in the canyon, I have heard some people saying, "Oh wow, I mean that color webbing really helped me locate the anchor."
Yeah.
I think it's fine. It's fine. It's yeah. It, I I now I if I see it now and the webbing is in good condition and it's deep inside the canyon, it's fine. It's okay. But if it's visible from the outside, yeah, I will either cut it or put the black webbing in.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Agreed. And I also feel like if you're going to change the webbing, like you should take the old webbing out, right? Because if you didn't trust it
Oh,
in the
oh
first
yeah, the
place,
the
like why are you just
the
going to add another sling?
the
Like
piling
take
on
the
of the webbing.
bad webbing out,
Mm,
add the new webbing, make it all clean and pretty, and then
yeah,
go. Don't just add another ring to make it more
yeah,
secure.
that is also, yeah, I don't like that when it's either start building a rat's nest or you see the webbing and it's bad. It was
Hmm.
already kind of worn in places, and some people just lay down another piece.
Yep.
Yeah, just cut it,
I've been
cut
in
it, and
Bakunin before when there's like three or four different slings, and you're like, which one do I go on, right? And it's like, why is there
right.
so much junk here? So I've learned to just take it all out and leave one good
Yeah,
clean piece.
definitely. If you commit to, if you inspect the webbing, which everybody should do, you inspect it, and if you see it's already faded or brittle, or it has some worn parts or cutting, cut it and put it on inside your pack and just put new webbing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Living doesn't weigh much. Someone in your group should have some. Switch it
Hmm.
out.
I
I
have
agree.
a tree on my backyard that every time we come after the canyon, we dump the packs. We have a couple of tubs of big water and we start watching everything. And the old webbing comes out and I throw it on the tree.
You have a big collection on the tree.
Yeah, I have. I'll send a photo where like all the rainbow webbing, like that it's on the lower branches, that it just keeps accumulating, accumulating.
I have a good tree in my yard. I could decorate with webbing. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it's super interesting. Uh, you see at some point when you accumulate enough of webbing, you can see like how it fades,
Right.
uh, how it breaks. I have done some testing on this old webbing, kind of hanging weight from it and rubbing the webbing with sandstone
Yeah.
just to see how much it will take to cut. Like when you are rappelling over an edge and the webbing is there moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it could be an inception, right? Just start your collection of all webbing,
Yeah.
haul it out.
That'd be fun. Well, cool. What are some of your favorite canyon stories?
Canyon stories. Let me see. Hmm. Well, there are like the type of story with just like everything, which is most of the time, goes according to the plan, and everybody's having a good time, and it just was a gorgeous day on beautiful canyon. My trips to Hips have been like that. It's such a beautiful canyon, and everybody's having a blast, and it's all smiles. Um, There are a couple of times when in Arizona, looking for the head of the canyon, we dropped into the wrong one. And as we were going on, they said, "Oh, okay, this doesn't look right. This doesn't look right." And luckily, we were able to escape on climbing out. So there are adventures like that, near epics.
That reminds me of a
Um,
time in Moab where we were going to do full granary. Have you done that
uh-huh.
canyon?
Full granary? No. Mm-mm.
So, in this area, when you do like a upper lower canyon, you just stay in the same drainage the whole time.
Right.
And somehow we missed in the beta that we were supposed to go over a hill to get to the lower granary drainage or something. So we got to what we thought was going to be the next rappel into like from upper granary into lower granary, but the description didn't match what the beta said.
Hmm.
And so we were kind of confused and we're like, wait a minute, this doesn't really look right. And then
Right.
also on the map, our Gaia was showing us like in this other area and we were supposed to be in a different spot, right?
Right. Right.
And luckily, my friend just happened to be able to get cell service to call the only person we knew that had done the canyon. And he was like, oh no, you need to backtrack a ways and then go over this hill and then you'll be in the right canyon. But one of our friends had already dropped down the rappel.
Oh, wow.
And we were
Mhm.
like, Doug, you got to come back up. Like, this isn't the right spot. And he was like, well, the canyon still goes. And we're like, but what we
Mhm.
see on our map is that it ends abruptly. And we're not sure if we have enough rope. And
Yep. Yeah.
so, after some convincing and scouting and talking to people, we realized that we were not in the right spot. And he did come up. And we didn't have time to do the other canyon, so we just headed back to the top cars and bailed for dinner. But yeah, like getting into the wrong
Yep.
canyon. Then we found out later that if you do get in the wrong canyon, it's I think like a 300-foot drop, and we had enough rope for a 200-foot drop. So we would have either had to been passing a knot or we would have been stuck there.
Yeah. 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 Other than just getting the beta a little bit wrong, I have done some exploration of canyons that don't have beta. And there was one where we went there. We counted on the topo map the contour lines, and we figured this got to be around 300. Okay, so we take a 300 rope, we throw it, and the first person goes. And we have radios, and at some point we hear like the crackle, on the radio, like,
Ugh.
and the person is saying, we are way short.
Oh,
We are
shoot.
way short. I can see we threw the rope back. So I can see the rope back. It was a yellow rope back, swing in the air, way off the deck. You know. So he said, "Well, we figure, you know what? Even if we lower you to safety and we stitch ropes, um, yeah, and turns out a big part of that rappel was an overhang. So we said,
Wow.
okay, so let's just haul you out of here and just bring a longer rope. But he had as for ascenders,
Okay.
and after a while, the prosix either became just too much of labor, and the prosix started sleeping for him, and we had to convert to a haul and haul him out of there. Everything was fine, but it was quite of an adventure just getting out of there. At some point, after some months, we went back with a 400-foot rope. And yeah, it turns out that rappel was like 370, 380, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
lucky that you guys had the skills to be able to haul him up and out since the press fix weren't working for ascending.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The we were able to just like, okay, we were already lowering rig for lower, but we just put another extension, put a micro traction, and we transfer the load into the micro traction, and we just put some mechanical advantage, and we start hauling him out. Yeah.
Nice. Well done. Awesome. Anything else that you want to talk about?
Um. Adventures. Yeah, I think those are like the highlights. Either epics or near epics. Um, there are some accidents that end up in uh, SAR calling or just bringing people out. Um, but yeah, you learn from all those occasions, and you get savvier in what to do and what not to do.
Yeah, for sure. So, another thing that I want to just touch base on briefly, I know you and Ursula were on the Patreon call this month to talk about the gear perspective things that are coming
Yeah,
out. Can you just talk a little bit about like the new rescue bag that came out and some other
right.
stuff?
So that was a collaboration between Ursula and Rich Carlson, and they came out with this rescue pouch, which the initial intent for that design is for someone to carry a rescue kit, and basically a around a uh, 30 feet length of rescue line with pulleys, micro traction, some rock rafts, where you can just perform a number of rescue situations, partner rescue situations, indirect rescue. And yeah, it works pretty good for that. But the design is such that uh, we decided to see if it could serve other purposes. So I've been using it first. I stuff a lot of webbing in there. It holds up to 100 feet of webbing. You can put on the side your knife, and on the daisy chain, or even on the front pouch, you can put a bunch of quick links, so repeats, maybe a fiddle stick, and you can have like a little anchor kit, whatever, a little shovel too for deadmans. So yeah, you can have like everything that you may need for an anchor, or for someone to hand that pouch and say, just go ahead and solve the next problem, the next anchor problem. Yeah, that
Uh,
I've been doing that, and that seems to go pretty good. Pretty good. A first aid kit. I had like an old harness bag where I put all my first aid stuff. So it has been working great, but I
right.
grabbed this pouch, and yeah, it works better. It works better. So yeah, that pouch turns out to be, it can be uh, very versatile. Some people have figured out when they saw the fiddlestick photos, so like, maybe you can put a fiddlestick in here. Some people have figured out pretty quickly, say, oh, how much Amstel core can I stuff in there, um, just to
Right.
use it as a small pull cord bag for fiddlesticks, right?
Right.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
if you fit
that
100 feet of webbing, it'd probably fit at least 200 feet of the M still. Maybe
sure,
three. Have you
sure.
tried it?
I haven't tried stuffing the Amstel yet, but I'm. It sounds about right. It should hold that much there in there, right?
Yeah, seems like about that much volume.
And it already has a little tab there where you can put a carabiner clip it on the side if you want to, or just throw it to your friends, the rest of your teammates down there. So that could be another good use for that.
Yeah. Awesome. You're the chief gear designer for Gear Perspective, Ursula told me, right?
Right, right.
Chief designer and tester, right?
Yeah, a lot of the fabrics she's incorporating, yeah, they have a promise because they are lightweight, they don't absorb water, and depending on the combination, uh, you can get a good degree of abrasion abrasion resistance in the fabric. And the gear, especially the packs, and the uh, butt protectors, they are lightweight. They don't absorb water. The packs are super comfy. So yeah, I have been working with her to just fine tune the designs of those pieces of gear. Mhm.
It's awesome. I'm excited to see what comes out next.
Sure, yeah. The bot protector, I think that may have been how first the collaboration started, because I every time I came back from some canyons, either in Escalante or the Swell or the Norwatch, the side of my pants were just ripped. The butt was fine,
Right.
but the hip side was just shredded. So I keep looking at my butt pad. I said, "What can the butt pad just be extended over the hip?"
Right.
Right. So I told her, "Hey, can we change the pattern this way?" And she said, "Oh yeah, let's try it out." And yeah, since there, my pants are happier,
Yeah.
and we started just doing design ideas that way.
She also sent me just some webbing, like a webbing belt, just to put on my sky guard. So if I'm not wearing my harness, I can just wear this webbing one, and then I
Right.
can scoot around and scramble and still not mess up my pants, even though I'm not wearing my harness, which is awesome for like the Northwash Canyons where you don't need a bunch of gear, but you're still scrambling and stemming and scooting
Hmm.
around. So I haven't really been able to try it out yet, but I'm super excited for when I can.
Yeah, I think at some point, and this is what's even before, but I have used that. I have like a couple of fastener buckles, and I put webbing, and I fashion like a belt thing with that same purpose. Like sometimes you are exploring or just during the approach, and it's
Yeah,
such a hassle to just bring the full harness just for that,
right,
and but you still end up scraping your pants quite a bit.
right. Yeah, I think that
Right.
Ursula is selling those now. So you get a one for your waist and one for each leg, two for your legs.
Hmm. And these things are so lightweight and compact that, yeah, I can
Right.
totally see how this works pretty good.
Yeah, I'm excited. All right. Well, the few questions that I ask everybody. What is your
Okay.
favorite snack?
uh Snack, I've been, like, I guess like everybody else, I've been just bouncing between different energy bars. But lately, during a canyon, one of my canyon buddies, Linda Donman, she always bring these sweets to the canyon, and she had these wafers, and oh man, yeah, I was taken by those wafers. I think she did it from someone else who was on a gluten-free diet or something.
Hmm.
But I got a taste of it, and I'm gonna ask her for the recipe because because yeah, I really love them. So I think that's my new favorite canyon snack. I told her that I'm gonna call this thing canyon wafers.
It were some that she made.
Yeah, she
Okay.
made she. she does a lot of baking, like
Yeah,
cookies
I remember the
and
canyon we
sweet.
did with her. She had some yummy homemade cookies at the end. It was such a treat.
Yeah, exactly.
Such a
So
treat.
I'm gonna ask her for the recipe to those canyon wafers and carrying them around.
Nice. What is your favorite after canyon beverage?
Oh man, Utah has had a toll on me. Before moving here into the state, I'll have a bunch of favorite beers, and now I rarely drink a beer
They're not worth it.
because I'm just the yeah the work of do the special trip just to get the beer. Um, but I think now really, as year has passed by, I think I when I get out of canyons, especially harder ones, I'm craving salty stuff. So I have it on my cooler on the truck, or I stop in the first gas station and I just wolf down a bag of chips with a soda. The sodium on the soda just gets me. Yeah, so that has become like my canyon snack, just super salty potato chips or something like that.
Fritos are just like
Yeah,
salty, yummy goodness. Like
yeah,
there's
something that is
there's nothing
just
better than
super.
Fritos after a canyon for some reason.
Yeah, it needs to be super salty. Yeah.
Agreed.
If I see them available, and they're different brands, but potato chips, the salt and vinegar,
Uh-huh.
those, if I see those on the rack, like, boom, I go for those.
Right. Nice. What is an essential piece of gear that you always carry with you?
Other than the basic stuff, my rappelling device, I think it has changed through time. There's always, as especially fresh out of a class, you come out and say, oh man, this particular piece of gear is so multi-purpose. I'm always gonna carry it. Um, so that probably has been a VT project because you can use it in so many different ways. So I have it around. Uh, Once I started guiding, kind of my priorities shift. You are doing over and over certain things, and you start appreciating certain gear better because as a guide, it just makes your task. There's one less thing you need to check when you are just taking care of the clients or keeping an eye. So I became really fond of certain carabiners that they don't need to twist the barrel to lock them.
Hmm.
I became like, oh my god, such a chore. How many times I'm gonna do this during the day? But a lot of the auto lockers, they jam with the sand. The dual motion or the triple motion, like when you twist and pull, invariably they end up jamming with sand. So there is these carabiners that they are auto lock, but they are all spring loaded, and I became really fond of those things for guiding because I mean they are very lightweight. I just go to anchors or slings, and I just like click, and I know I don't need to worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
Even when the clients wants to mess with it, they don't know
They don't
how.
know how to figure it out.
They're like, right, yeah. But the downside to that is sometimes I get tired of switching racks. So I am out with friends and I have my guiding rack and they come across these carabiners into something like, oh my God, this is an Adolfo carabiner. I don't know how to open this.
Right.
So I try to be careful. Just anything that is facing with friends or stuff, I do the regular binners. But I have become really fond of those carabiners.
The one that I have always used on my personal safety line has been a auto locker, and I get a lot of shit about it. But I,
Yeah.
every time I've been in a dirty canyon, like I'm really anal about cleaning it, and I've never had a problem with it. The one time I remember I switched it out because it does take two hands for me to maneuver it and whatever. And I was just
Mhm.
kind of like, God, this dumb beaner, blah blah blah. And like my boss at the time and I were setting up a additional line for some clients to come through. And the next day, I went through Pine Creek with my friends, and I forgot that I had switched out to his carabiner
Right.
from my auto locker. And I got to the cathedral, and I just put my safety on there, and then I went to lean over, and not only did it not close, but it came off of the thing. And so I
Oh, wow.
thought I was clipped in. And when I went to lean over the cathedral, like I fell to the ground. I landed right at the edge of the rappel. And you're on that angle and it's always kind of wet. It scared
Mhm.
the shit out of me. I am so lucky I didn't fall into there.
Wow.
And so after I caught my composure and rappelled down and was like on the other side, like thinking about what happened, I was like, that's the only time in a canyon situation that I've not had my auto locker on my safety line. And I switched
Right.
back and I've had that one on there ever since. Like, I don't think I'll
Right.
ever change it again. So some
Yeah.
people like auto lockers, other people, they don't work for them. But you just need to know what gear works for you and trust that gear.
Yeah, after doing canyons and even if I switch from guiding back to just doing something recreational, the ones on my safety tethers, I don't switch
Yeah.
because yeah, there is you want to especially anchors that are a little bit exposed,
Yeah.
like that one on the cathedral.
Right.
You just want to just reach, clip,
Clip, know you're
and
safe. Be
forget
done
about
with
it.
it.
You don't need to do the extra motion.
Right.
But again, that goes to speak to where do you canyoneer, right? Like here, we really have a use for
Yeah.
those things.
Right.
If someone is doing canyons up there in Escalante on the Norwash, where the anchors are 30 feet away in
Right.
the no, right there on a rock on flat ground, you don't need that.
Right. They'll probably never use our safety line.
Right, right, exactly. You never use it. But yeah, now I think that this carabiner is a Greville, the Tau carabiner, and it has a kind of a little spring-loaded wire on the back and a gate,
Hmm.
and you just pinch the wire and the gate opens, and really easy to operate. Really low profile, so even if you have a chain or a tight hanger, it will go in. So yeah, I love that thing.
I tried the magnetic ones where you just like push and it releases, but I did not like those at all. That one would
Oh
always
yeah,
stick on me.
the black
I think,
diamond
yeah, Black Diamond. Yeah, I did not like that one.
magnetic ones. Mhm.
Did not like that one at all. But anyway. All right. The one new question that I have for 2023 is how has canyoneering changed your life?
For the better or for the worse? Or for
Both.
both. Uh, I love it, and I've been trying to practice it in a way where I can be into the activity for the long haul. I think it has made me more aware of conservation, the conservation aspect of the wilderness, because these places are so inaccessible and we learn the skills to get in there. It may be one of the last places where with humans are getting in there, like caves and canyons. So, yeah, kind of be mindful of the conservation aspect of the activity. Um, has made me realize how, so that's the physical aspect. Um, I think it has kept me mentally nimble and curious, how to keep learning more stuff on all aspects, right? From nature, from regions, geography, other parts of the world where are there more canyons. So
Right.
yeah, that has been a really good thing to keep your mind curious and learn, searching for more. It also has kind of teach me how, no matter how old we get, and we get into something that is kind of a passion thing, and we think that socially is gonna create a bond that is gonna survive everything. It doesn't. We seem to everything can easily turn into the high school cafeteria scenario
Right.
where you walked in into a place, and there are the different tables with the different cliques, and you will think that we left that behind high school, but no, right? Here we are again.
Yeah.
uh, so that aspect of it. So uh, but overall, I think, yeah, it has been a really, really good thing in my life, for sure. I really love it. And yeah, it is a really good way to be in touch with nature, for sure. I really like it.
Well said. For sure. I like what you said about the kids in kindergarten or grade school because some of the Facebook groups are definitely like that.
Right.
That's awesome. All right. Well, do you have any safety advice you'd like to leave our listeners with before we say goodbye?
Yeah, safety. Yes, other than being out there and knowing and being conscious that it's an activity that involves risk, and people say, I'm going to be really, really, really safe. uh, be be aware that yeah, that safety comes from knowing what can go wrong and how to prevent it. So yeah, just seek training, seek knowledge, practice. I'm even on the classes where I have been there as an instructor. I find people who took the time and pay for the class, went to take the instruction, and they are still hanging on to the attitude of you can prevent accidents if you are just really, really careful, right? Sometimes you have all the care in the world, and a mishap happens, and it's better if you know already how to fix that and get out of it, right?
Yeah.
Like with that incident with the rope being short, we did a lot of planning, we did a lot of things that we thought we were right, we were wrong, but we knew how to get out of it, right?
Right. Yeah. Because search and rescue can't be there when you need them to be there always. Sometimes it takes hours, days. Sometimes you don't
Yeah,
have that long.
yeah,
So,
yeah. The
yeah,
search,
preparing is important.
calling search and rescue or pressing your PLB cannot be part of your safety plan, right?
No,
That's
that should
when
not be a
things
part of it at all.
totally went wrong, and now you want help, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome. I thank you for your time, Adolfo.
Hey, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, I will have the links for your Facebook groups as well as the meetup and how to get a hold of you in the show notes.
Thank you so much.
The canyons are calling. We should probably go.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, that concludes my interview with Adolfo Isassi. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out the Facebook group pages that he's a part of. There's the Canyon Guides International if you're interested in just learning more about canyoneering or potentially being a guide at some point. They have lots of information, lots of instructional information. You can find a person to do more training with, do testing, all sorts of stuff. And then also the instructional canyoneering resource. There they talk everything canyoneering. It's a really great page where they just discuss, like I said earlier, the accidents, anchor setup, rigging, ropes, backpacks, you name it. They talk about it. A lot of people there, I feel like, are kind of just silent and getting education, but it's not as political as some of the other Facebook group pages. So I like it. I've learned a lot from there. Check them out. I'll have links for those in the show notes as well as for Adolfo himself. Also, if you'd like to reach out to me, if you have a story you'd like to share, if you would like to get somebody on the podcast, reach out to thecanyonsarecalling@gmail.com. Also, we have a Facebook group page and the Instagram page. I will have links to those in the show notes, as well as thecanyonsarecalling.com, where you can get stickers, beer glasses, dog tug toys, all that fun stuff. You can also support us on Patreon, so you can join us on the Canyoning chat each month. Those are super cool. Also, if you're enjoying this super relaxing music in the background, shout out to Z, the handpan man. This music has been really helpful in just meditation and relaxation to get my neck healed. So I really love the sound of the steel drum. And see, the handpan man is a local from St. George that let me use his music. So I really appreciate that. Check him out. Also, in the beginning of the podcast, the little jingle there was created by Tig Booth, and another canyoneer from northern Utah. Shout out to Tig. Thank you very much for putting that little jingle together. And then my little grandkids shouting out, "The canyons are calling." Connor and Ashes. I really appreciate them. You're super cute. Anyway, enough of me rambling. The canyons are calling. Let's go.